And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya. Now, more than ever, I'm Jeff Kenyan, and if you've been watching Capital Talk all this week, you know what the theme has been. That's right, the black t-shirts, Kenyans for Kenya, coming together in this initiative that's literally taken the whole country by storm. And on the bench today, folks, is a story of the power of the human spirit, determination like you'd never imagine. Because my guest was sitting comfortably in his home in southwest Australia, in Sydney, and he saw the pictures on TV. He saw the starving children, he saw the dying people, and he said he's going to do something about it. And he did. With his friends, well-wishers, family members, they collected 200 tons of equipment, of medical supplies and food, shipping it over as we speak. In the meantime, he got on the plane, came to Kenya, bought 100 tons of relief and food, and took it all the way up to the Wajir and other places that few people have been. He's literally just come back to town. We want to get his story, folks, because this is what we mean when we talk about the future of Kenya and Kenyans taking over the destiny of their nation. This young man, he was born in Wajir, by the way, born and bred in Wajir, ended up in Australia for the last 15 years. He's got a double master's in health. He's got a PhD in public health. Folks, sit back and listen to Dr. Mohamud Sheikh. Hey, Doc.
Hey.
Good to see you, man. Welcome to the bench.
Good to see you, Jeff.
What a fantastic story. And, and on top of that, you're only, what, barely 41 years old?
Close to that. I wouldn't talk about my age. Others are watching, perhaps. Right.
Well done, man. Well done. So tell me, let's go back a bit, because obviously I don't give this story enough justice. But you're sitting in Sydney, you're watching TV or reading the newspapers, and what do you see and what comes to your mind?
An incredible thing. I was really touched, and I was really touched in my heart that there are many Kenyans who are actually poor, dying, starving because of food. There's lots of food in my fridge. There's lots of food that I'm throwing off into the garbage. Yeah. My kids are actually fed quite well. But I could see other kids who are the same as my kids. And I couldn't see it anymore. I couldn't see it anymore. And I had to stand up and do something about it. And by the way, what really made me move is that I was a humanitarian since the age of 8. And I couldn't give up that. I had to continue doing that. Yeah. I mean, someone could be amazed saying, how could he be, a humanitarian since the age of 8? I could deliver food during Ramadan. I could carry some food when international organizations or the Kenyan Red Cross or any other organization that's delivering food to the poor, the elderly who are actually helpless and who are immobile, cannot come out of their houses. I had to deliver their food at their doorstep. Yes. So that is something that I grew up with, and I said, I have to do it something for my own people. So what did you do, Doc? Did you call your friends? Did you mobilize the community in Australia? What did you do? I did exactly that. But how I did this was that we've started an organization called Horn of Africa Relief Development Agency, an organization that actually helped me understand much more of the Kenyans in the diaspora, what they can actually do and make a difference to. So what we did was that we've called on for special attention to the Kenyans who are there, to the Australian colleagues, friends, those we schooled together in the university, those we were working colleagues and all that, and many other communities like the Muslim Aid Australia is an organization that has got close relationship with me, or I have a close relationship with them. So I rang them and I said, we cannot sit back and watch this. So they did fundraisings. There's dinner fundraisings that we do. So we go for a dinner plate, which actually would be normally costing about $20. We actually charge $80. And that extra money that we get out of that is what we decide to use that for that. Now, actually, we spoke in public places. We spoke in mosques. We spoke in centers, in schools, in colleges, and all that. So we actually mentioned to the people that these are people who are starving and they deserve to be looked at. Wow. So that's how we started, and that's how we went.
And you ended up collecting what, about 200 tons of stuff?
Exactly.
200 tons.
200 tons.
Which is in the high seas.
It's in the high seas as we speak, and it's expected to arrive here on the 11th of September, and hopefully by then we will be able to get through the customs and all that.
Yes.
And I am sure the Kenyans are quite big-hearted, and that food will be delivered as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And to the right people, to the people that deserve, so that there will be no more starving and hungry Kenyans.
But Doc, you didn't even want to wait until September 11th. You had to come back and see for yourself, because you came back and took 100 tons of other relief.
I did that, and as we speak, last night I arrived from a place called Boni region. I mean, a place near Lamu. I did not only go to the North Kenya up there, but I also went to a place close to Bodai. Bodai is in the Ijara district. Now I went there and I saw these Boni people who are actually forgotten, let me say that. They're in the bush, they're hunters and gatherers, they are not people who can be seen in settlements, but now they started to settle down, and simply because they could not even catch the animals. The animals have left, all the animals they could be hunting, the wild animals and all that, and the insects they used to depend on, they used to live on. And I'm wondering whether any Kenyan knows that there are people who are living on insects.
Is that in Kenya?
That's in Kenya. But those are the kind of people. These are indigenous people. These are the indigenous communities who are called the Boni. They actually live on honey. They actually live on roots. They are hunters and gatherers, basically. And these are people who have not been seen. I was one of the first people who actually arrived there, and we gave them food. And as we speak, there is a truck that is going there to deliver some food to them. Wow. I spoke to the local chief. I sat down with them. I spent 2 nights there. And I could listen to that. Yeah. And the resilience these communities do have is quite fascinating.
What about when you went to Wajir, Doctor? When you arrived with the food relief supplies that you took with you, what was it like when you arrived there?
What it was like was that there were many people who were actually desperate. The animals have died. I mean, they don't have any money, they don't have any food. Actually, food supplies is actually even critical. We did not go to Wajir town itself, but we went to the southern part of Wajir South. And that region, that area, actually the calamity has been even quite extraordinary. So what we did was that we decided to identify pockets of areas where they were much more hard hit. So we delivered the food. We decided to say that we're going to be finding out rations. So we made ration cards and we gave them away. So the organization that I'm working with is called WARDA, Waso Resource Development Agency. It's a Wajir South-based organization that actually works with the people and all that. Yeah. So we delivered, and it was quite overwhelming. The chiefs, the community members, the elders and the villagers could not believe that we were the first organization to deliver such food.
No one else has been there?
No one else has been there before us. They've started delivering right now. Now, but what really hurts me and really critical to me is that international organizations, multinational organizations, many Kenyans actually are talking about delivering, contributing for the Kenyans. Yes. But there has been a lot of talk. But the talk has been, there has been not enough work. The talk has not been walked.
Yes, yes.
So there's a lot of talk, but there's very little work.
Correct.
And we really wanted to walk that talk.
When you look at your home village, your hometown where you grew up,
yes,
could you recognize it? Was it recognizable?
Well, it was recognizable in many ways, because that's where I actually used to run around. I went in December. And in December, what we did is that we delivered medical supplies. What we did was a medical camp, cataract surgery and other medical examinations. Again, in February, we did another camp in a place called Sabuli. Now, Habaswein is where we did the medical camp in December, January. And what really touched me most was an elderly lady who has been blind for 10 good years. She's not seen her grandchildren. And she's seen her young daughter, you know, when she was quite young, was the last time she's seen. And it was a New Year gift. That was the New Year gift for her. And that really touched me emotionally. Now, what was her problem? What was the medical problem that she had? Cataract. Cataract that can be done. I mean, surgery can be done in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Someone will start seeing again. Now, that simple procedure is something that can actually be done perfectly, quite cheaply. And you know how much donation I got for that? I got $18 for that. $18 is what I collected from Australia to come and do a medical surgery for an individual who's actually been blind for 10 years. An elderly woman who actually was there when I was growing up in Habaswein.
You remember her?
I remember her.
And this was a life-changing moment? It
was a life-changing moment. And it actually touched my heart to see that I am actually making a difference. But that was not the only woman. There were many more. One of the community leaders in that place was actually blind for quite some time, simply because of, you know, cataract. A simple procedure that can be done.
Wow.
So that is Kenyans for Kenya.
Yes. So when you heard about this initiative now, Doctor, this Kenyans for Kenya initiative, what went through your mind? What do you think?
I was very much amazed. I was very much amazed that there are many Kenyans who are thinking of the Kenyans. Not only us in the diaspora. There are many other Kenyans who are actually in the diaspora who have assisted me to go through this. But what I have actually was touched is Kenya has changed over the last 15 years I've been away. Kenyans care for Kenyans. Yes. And each contribution makes a difference. It actually walks more miles than a contribution that comes from multinational organizations or international communities. So Kenyans for Kenyans money can actually travel more miles. Yes. And that is what really makes a difference.
Absolutely.
10 shillings can make a difference.
Yes.
50 shillings can make a difference.
Correct.
100 shillings can make a difference. You know, go for the counts. Contribute that.
Yes.
That will actually make a life-changing life to the kids.
And it adds up in the end, doesn't it?
It adds up in the end.
Yes.
A single coin, $1 a day makes a difference.
There you go.
So a shilling a day makes a difference.
Yes.
And that is the whole perfection on humanitarianism.
And you mentioned something important. You said we've come together as a country, compared to 15 years ago, because we're not thinking of the people up north as those people. It's not those Somali Kenyans.
Absolutely.
It's Kenyans.
It's Kenyans. We're looking about billion shillings that's been just donated. I mean, that is amazing for me. I mean, it's no longer those who go beyond the boundaries, the shifters on that side, all dozens of that color, all dozens of those of that. That is the beauty of civilization. I mean, as we move on, as we see more things happening, I think we will not need the United Nations in future. Many of our allies, many of our young women and men are actually understanding quite perfectly that they can make a difference, they can make a contribution.
We're maturing as a nation.
We are maturing as a nation.
Yes.
Now, I traveled not only to Australia, I traveled to Canada, I went to the UK, I went to New Zealand. I have seen that there are people who are working together when calamities do occur. I do train doctors who are actually going to humanitarian emergencies. I'm actually working with the WHO in collaborations with our university. I'm working with the university in collaboration with WHO rather. And we are running courses every November, and this November I'm going to be running that as well. I've actually invited Kenyans to come and do that. We're working on humanitarian emergencies, managing healthcare and humanitarian crisis. Now, the doctors who worked in Haiti were some of my students. The doctors who actually worked in the tsunami, those who actually in the tsunami of Indonesia,
yes,
and those of Japan. Actually, these are the people that we have trained, and we've done that. From as far as Mongolia to Haiti, all those people that are going there, they know what humanitarian work is. And every Kenyan is a humanitarian. However small the step will be, yes, we will get there.
Absolutely.
Every 100 miles begins from a single step.
No doubt. And when you go up north, you can see the humanity in people, can't you?
I could see the humanity in people. And I spoke to a lady and she said, look, we've not eaten for days. This food is so important to us that I don't know what I'm going to say to you. May you live long. I mean, that was a blessing in my own heart. That was a Kenyan, a true Kenyan, who we grew up in the same area.
Yes.
And I could not sit back and say that I'm not going to do that. I am ready to resign from my job and continue doing a humanitarian voluntary work. And that is the whole concept of being, selfless. I'm not beating my own trumpet,
sure,
but what I'm only telling the young Kenyans out there, men and women, to stand up and contribute to your communities as much as you can.
That's powerful, Doctor. That's powerful. I want to talk more about that after the break. That's fantastic. And these first-hand accounts from up north, a lot of people, we see the images on TV, but until you see it for yourself, that's a different story. It changes your perception. I also want to talk about the future of this country. Is it looking good? When you guys look at us from Australia, from down under, what do you guys see when you look at Kenya? First, let's take a break.
Sure.
Good grief, the man is only 41 years old, folks. What a man. What a humanitarian. And yes, he says he's ready to give up his job to become a humanitarian. He's seen first-hand account, folks. He's got a first-hand account of what's happening up north. And yes, he says Kenyans for Kenya is what it's all about. Don't even think of going away, folks. The bench on this Friday is back. In a moment. And welcome back to Capital Talk, folks. What a week it's been on the bench. I tell you, it's a great feeling to know there are great people out there who are doing some great things for this country. All week long, you've seen them. And yes, we're running it off with a man who's literally just come back from the epicenter of the famine and drought. He's a Kenyan born, he lives in Australia, he saw the catastrophe and decided to do something about it. Talk about the power of determination and the human spirit. Dr. Mohamud Sheikh, sit back. So Doc, you said you're ready to give up your job.
I'm ready to
You're ready to go up north or come to Kenya and be a part of this whole change.
I am ready to do that. And when my time comes on that, I'll do that. I'll make a difference. I'll do my best to contribute to that. But let me tell you something, Jeff. You see, charity begins at home. That is a perfect terminology that is used. But for me, what I actually see is charity actually does not only begin at home, but it actually contributes to the rest of the neighbors. Not only in your homestead, but to your neighbors. Now, some of the work we did was we went as far as Somalia. Waso Resource Development Agency, WARDA, is an organization that actually decided we've got 27 volunteers who are contributing. And we have inspired these young people, men and women, who are actually giving their time and selflessness. They are on school holidays. They actually say that the best we can contribute is not monetary. We are poor people, but we will contribute our time. We actually ship them through to Somalia. Now, I spoke to in the refugee camp, Dadaab refugee camp, where I went to Ifo. Now, there are people who are living around there. Now, these people are people who just arrived. They have not been recorded. They have not been registered by the United Nations.
And they've walked for miles.
They have walked for miles for many, many, many days.
Without food?
Without food. Now, there is a lady that actually told me, look, she left one of her kids behind.
On the road?
On the road. And that is a true story that she told me. Another elderly guy told me, you see those couples sitting there? They left 2 of their children behind.
On the road?
On the road. And they could only carry other 2. The family was quite large. They could only carry the weaker ones.
So these are true stories we're hearing?
These are true stories that we are hearing. I mean, I was touched. I was really emotional. I could not see leaving my children behind. Now, I am not quite sure whether there is anybody who can have as much resilience as those people do. But that is what really amazed me, that they do have resilience.
And worse than that, Doc, once they get to Dadaab, they have to wait several hours, several days before they get raised or get food.
Weeks, actually. Not even hours or days. It's weeks. And that is quite critical. Multinational organizations, the international community have pledged, they have delivered their part. But there are many who are not delivering. And those organizations actually need to come to the ground and involve non-governmental organizations, smaller organizations like WADA, to come and contribute to the communities, because they can infiltrate, they can go to the communities down there. Now, international organizations will be only coming to make major camps, but that is not where the catastrophe is. These camps were established for over 21 years now. I mean, since the fall of the Somalian government. Now, these camps are actually, I mean, there was protracted refugees who are living there. But those ones that are coming actually are dying on the road, on the way. We need people who can go and travel to the road. You know, go and deliver water, deliver food, give them rations so that they can come down.
Yeah, I think it's gone beyond big organizations taking credit for this. You can't want to take credit for it because it's team effort.
It's a team effort.
And whoever can get in should be able to get in.
Indeed.
Right?
Whoever can give. An individual, pairs, you know, name them.
Yeah.
Organizations that are Kenyan born, that are Kenyan grown, in other words. Now, these are the kind of things that we can do. Now, the United Nations is delivering, but it is not delivering as quickly and as immediately as required.
And they're saying that it's going to get worse in Somalia.
It's going to get more worse, actually.
Yeah.
It's going to get more worse. It's going to get more worse.
So more refugees will be streaming across?
Absolutely. There will be more that will be streaming across. And you see, there is even stories. I have not spoken to those people myself personally, but there are stories that people are actually have decided actually even to eat the parts of their babies who died so that they can feed the others to survive. Honestly speaking, an elderly man told me that. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, this is human. This is a human life that we are talking about. We are talking about, you know, saving a human life. We are talking about seeing, you know, the potential in every life. Every human life has a potential, and that potential can contribute actually to the future of this world.
Absolutely.
And that's why we are human beings. That's why we are different from other animals. That's why we are different from the rest of the animals. We are different from the rest of the mammals actually.
Correct.
So we have to feel for that. So not necessarily charity begins at home, contributing back to home, but contribute to your neighbors as well. Yeah. But for now, let's look at the Kenyans for Kenyans. And I was really amazed. I was really amazed that there are many Kenyans who care and have contributed.
And I hope they continue this, Doctor, because, you know, my biggest fear is always, you know, we start well.
Yes.
We start off with all the oomph and, you know, pomp and pageantry.
Yes.
And then halfway down the line, we lose focus. We drop the ball.
Indeed.
We have to keep up this momentum.
Indeed. Now, one thing, Jeff, I want to tell you is there's something looming. There's a public health catastrophe looming. And let me be quite frank on this. Many refugees have come to live around the camps. Now, they don't have water and they don't have toilets.
Sanitation, yep.
Sanitation. Now, that is the challenge that we have. I'm already speaking to American friends of mine who actually I asked them to actually contribute sanitary pads. Now, critical story for the girls as well. Now, an 18-year-old lady, young lady, a young girl, who has got only one cloth on her body. She gets her menstrual period. That she doesn't have pads. It's a luxury to get that. Now, that young woman cannot come out and get food. Right. She cannot be counted for those who are being given food on the queue.
Because she's embarrassed.
She's embarrassed.
Yes.
She's embarrassed.
Yeah, she can't just...
Now, I urge young Kenyans to be for Kenyans, in the sense that, and young Kenyans for the refugees as well, that you contribute even a single pad out of your monthly package. That will make a difference to her. She will be able to get out of the house, fetch for water, go even to the toilet, and do whatever she wants to do. She has got a single cloth. She cannot go out. Yeah. She soiled that single cloth. She cannot come out of the house.
And she'll starve in there.
She will be starving in there. My goodness. Now, I met Kenyans, these are Kenyans. They actually fled from a place called Hadado near Wajir. And they came all the way to the refugees because there was no enough food anywhere to get that. So they wanted to go into the refugee camp to actually get for that. There are many Kenyans in the refugee camps actually, simply because that is where they could get food rations. That is quite embarrassing. That's quite amazing. Now, this family, and I will tell you what this family constitutes. They're in Dagahle now, in Dagahle of Wajir South. They consist of an old man, his wife, his daughter, his son-in-law, his daughter-in-law, and his son, plus the other children are living in one small tent. It's not even a tent, a makeshift, a manyata, a small house, you know, made of thatched grasses and all those things. Can you imagine those people living together on that?
More than 10 people.
More than 10 people. Their children, the in-laws, they are all living on that. When I gave them a single blanket for the old man, they said, we will share this.
All of us.
And I was running out of the blankets at the time. I had to go and call for some more blankets, and I had to deliver. The in-laws, they are all living on that. When I gave them a single blanket for the old man, they said, we will share this.
All of us.
And I was running out of the blankets at the time. I had to go and call for some more blankets, and I had to deliver to that. The chief was there of the local area. I mean, I don't understand the fact that these things have been happening. They were looming, you know. These things, we knew that. It could be predicted, and things can be done.
And no one did anything.
And no one did anything.
Until it got to this critical stage.
Until it got to this critical stage.
Can we turn it around, Doctor, in the future? Can we avoid such catastrophes, such disasters?
The best step to that is safety net. The best is safety net. I would like Kenyans for Kenyans not to stop at this crisis only. I would like that to be looked at beyond this crisis. We need to sit down together as Kenyans and make a plan that can make a difference to the future. I am pretty sure this will not happen again if only we are prepared for that. You see, necessity is the mother of invention. Now we know what is necessary. Now we know what really happened. We can be innovative. We can be decisive. We can be very well planned. And that is what we really need to do. From politicians, from the layman in the bush to the politicians in the helm. If we can do that, from that small man to the big man in the helm, if we can come together, think together, and mitigate the crisis that may occur in future, we can do that.
When you go back to Australia, what are you going to tell your friends about what you've just seen?
It will be a story. It will be a storytelling. I've already done videotapes. I've already sent some photos, and it will be a lot of storytelling. Not only to my colleagues, but to my students. I've got over 120 students who are doing international public health. I teach global public health. And what I do actually teach is the mitigation for international health crisis. And so the stories I'm going to be telling them is actually something practical. It's been beneficial to me in one way, in the sense that I have been hands-on on the practical situations that is happening there. But I, excuse me, but I will tell people like this, that they should not stop at this particular hour only. They need to continue contributing to that. So that's what I will be telling future Jeff.
That's an incredible story. And then how soon are you going to come back? Because, you know, your stuff is on its way. It gets in September 11th. You're going to come back and now also distribute that, or will you have people doing that?
What I have decided is that there will be people who will be on the ground, who will be doing the work for us. I'll be going to do donations. I'll not only go to Australia, but I will be going to the Arabian world. I'll be going to Saudi Arabia. That's where I also have a position that I'm teaching at the University of King Saud bin Abdul Aziz University in Riyadh. I'll be talking to the people around, and I will try my best to make sure that I do contributions to the people.
What makes you do this, doctor? You're only 41 years old. What makes you keep going like this? You know, you never give up. This resilience, this power of, you know, getting people together and helping others. Where does it come from?
What really makes me do this is not what I'm going to say first. What I'm going to say is that what is going to keep me doing this? Let me answer that first. What is going to keep me doing this is when I was leaving for the bush, I brought my kids here, they're here. Now, my son, who is 9 years old, told me, Dad, my birthday is on its way, 17th of August. Why are you going away? Are you not going to be there for my birthday? And I told him, Dad, I'll be coming back. I promise I'll come back. And that's how I came back, to contribute to his birthday. So, but we pushed it back to on Saturday. So I told him, I'm going away to go and help people. I'm going to help the poor. And he said, can I not come with you? And I told him, what are you going to do? I'll help. I'll even give the food rations myself. And I told him, son, that would be a great thing, but you're going to go to the bush. Oh, you got a bit, a bit unhappy with that. And I said, but listen, you know how you're going to contribute? No, he said. Do you have money? Oh, yes, I have a small amount of money in my account. Can I contribute that? He contributed. He perfectly contributed. He said, all right, I cannot go, but this is my money.
Wow. 9-year-old.
9-year-old. I mean, that is the kind of thing that keeps me going. Now, what made me do this? I started this at the age of 8, I told you. Now, I remember very well, I schooled in Wajir Bor, in a place, towards the east of Wajir. Now, southeast actually of Wajir, it's under Wajir South. Now, I schooled there, and in my primary education, the villagers did not know how to read and write. So when food ration comes, the organizations that are delivering the food wanted to communicate to the people. So we used to interpret for them. At that tender age, when I was in my lower primaries, I could be able to write and read for the names of the people. I used to sit down there, call out. That's the kind of volunteer. You used to wear those gowns that indicate the Red Cross. Actually, it's the Red Cross that used to come down there. And I really admire the work they have done and the work they continue to do. I really admire that. So that inspiration is the thing that actually made me do that, and it continues to do that. But there is also the softer part of me. I mean, in my doctorate, actually, I did child health. So particularly in humanitarian crisis. Now, the child health and humanitarian crisis is, I actually spoke about the work I did in the refugee detentions in Australia. Australia had the biggest detention.
Correct.
Now, I wrote a number of articles about detention of child in refugee detention centers in Australia. And one of the things that I quoted out was that during the Nazi era, there were children who were actually gassed. There were children who died. I mean, that is not what human beings are supposed to be doing to others. So that really caught my emotions, that I'm a human, I should make a difference, I should be a humanitarian. And that's what I will live on along my life.
Just like your son, like father, like son.
Like father, like son.
You say that?
Thank you so much.
Well done, doctor.
Yeah,
Good job.
Good.
Keep it up. Don't give up, man. Don't give up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming back to Kenya.
The pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine.
Dr. Mohamud Sheikh, folks, what a story. This man didn't have to do it. He could have been sitting comfortably in Australia, living his life. But no, he's a professor, he's a teacher, he's a humanitarian. Yes, and he's Kenyan. And he's come back to play his role. And he'll go back and keep coming back because he knows this place is the future. No doubt, folks. What a week. What a guest. What a bench it's been all week long, folks. This is what we mean when we talk about the future of Kenya. everyone giving one at a time. And yes, let's push this campaign, folks, all the way to the finish line to get that 1 billion shillings. Can we do it? Absolutely. Will we do it? No doubt. Because of you and us and every one of us, 40 million Kenyans. You cannot find guests like Dr. Mohamud Sheikh anywhere else but right here on the bench on the award-winning station K24, where we are. Yes, even if you're down under, we are still all Kenyan.
All the time. All Kenyan.
Thank you, Doctor.
Pleasure is mine.
Great job, man.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.